tea. If you are new here, my name is Renee Mullings-Lewis. I am the CEO and founder of Modern Day Wise Woman, which is an online self-love coaching practice and private school. And here we talk about all things self-love, psychology, personal development, essentially all things to have you be the version of yourself that you can really be proud of and live a life by design. Today, I want to talk to you about taking care of yourself. And I'm going to get into three things specifically. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the people that you surround yourself with. The second thing that we're going to talk about is what you consume. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about is where you put your energy, where you put your attention and your focus. People usually like to take notes, so I recommend that you grab a pen, a piece of paper, something like that, or just your iPad and your smartphone. We're going to get into it. I'm going to do this video in under 10 minutes. Let's go. Being on a self-love journey isn't for the faint of heart. A lot of us stumble upon the self-love journey after going through something painful or traumatic or tragic. And that often involves our relationships. Things like a major breakup, a major divorce, the loss of a loved one, whether it is through divorce or breakup, as I said, or unfortunately through literal loss, someone passing away. It pushes us to really confront who we are. And it often has us reflect not only on our life, but on the major relationships in our lives. By now, I think that a lot of us know that our quality of relationships affect the quality of our life. In other words, when you have high quality, nourishing, soulful, sourceful relationships, you're more likely to feel better and live longer, be happier ultimately. And when you don't have that, you are more likely to suffer in all the ways, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. When we don't have that, we are deeply, deeply impacted in ways that are just not good for us. So it behooves us to really reflect upon the relationships that we have in our lives and to gain a very good understanding of which relationships support us, which relationships serve us and support us in being the person we want to be, not only today, but the person that we are becoming, the person that will make us proud of who we are, right? It is clear that many of us have experienced times in our life where we've had people who have not served us. And let me be clear about what I mean by not serving us. I don't mean that they were useless relationships, because we learn, or hopefully most of us learn, lessons, big lessons from our relationships, and we walk away with other things that perhaps we were meant to, like, for example, kids, or a new business endeavor, or an awareness around something, right? But besides that, right, we can see that they weren't serving us because perhaps we were ignoring our authentic selves or our truths, or we were being mistreated or not seen. And it also created a ton of damage, and there are huge consequences and impacts for the relationship, right? When we're on a self-love journey, the thing that we're trying to do is navigate relationships that are healthy, navigate relationships where we feel seen, where we feel honored, and navigate relationships or have relationships that propel us forward, not hold us back. It is difficult for us to sometimes look at the relationships that we're in and the relationships that we participate in and the people that we're surrounded by to determine where these relationships fall. But the thing that I like to say to people is it's important for you to do this, because if you don't, what is the consequence? Consider what has happened to you in the past when you have ignored your intuition, when you have bypassed that gut instinct, when you have not listened to the deep wisdom that is within you. And so we're not trying to repeat that again, right? Now, I don't want you to just be motivated by fear. I want you to also consider how different it would be if you had loving and supporting relationships in your life and not ones where you're harmed or left constantly feeling stressed or anxious, excuse me. What would it be like if you felt enlivened and you felt secure and the communication was awesome and great and you felt empowered in those relationships? What would happen if all of your relationships, or most of them, were fully supportive and you felt like you could just really be authentically you? Imagine that. Tell me that isn't something worth standing for. The final point I just want to make here is that you want to have standards, and taking care of yourself, being responsible for yourself. A big part of what we are honing in on for those of us that are doing this work is for us to be clear about what our standards are in a relationship, and for us to be clear that we're not going to settle for having people in our lives that do not respect us, that we do not trust, that do not have loyalty, that are not responsible for who they are and their actions, and that ultimately cause us more stress or more harm. We want people in our lives that enrich our lives, that help us, support us, are aligned with us, that feel good, that energize us. I could go on and on and on. Now let's talk a little bit about the energy we consume. We consume energy in all different kinds of ways. It is very important that we think about basics, okay, which is our food and our nutrition and simply what we're consuming. A lot of us have been checked out. Part of it is because of the whole, whatever we've gone through over the last couple of years. And times, if we look at the forecast, may be indicating that we may be in for some more difficult times. This can have a psychological effect on all of us, but it's important for us to maintain the mindset where we are consciously creating our reality. And in order for us to have that conscious mindset, in order for us to remain not just positive, but steadfast and clear that ultimately we are responsible for our lives and our happiness and what comes to fruition, right? It's important that we eat well, that we be paying attention to how we are feeling when we eat, okay? So I'm not going to get into a whole big nutrition component here. I'm only going to say now is a good time for you to be really paying attention to the foods that you're eating, how you feel, and if you know that something is off, get on top of it and start making some adjustments immediately. The other thing that we consume is content. And man, there's an entire industry that is set up to try to get our attention and to distract us. And if we're not careful, we can get sucked into and go out, down all kinds of rabbit holes that don't support us, that don't leave us empowered, but rather have the opposite effect. It leaves us mindless, it leaves us powerless, and it puts us in a position where we're just not being the leaders that we're truly meant to be in our lives, for ourselves, for the people we love, for the world. You've got to really be intentional and be conscious about what you consume right now. If you recognize that you feel completely doom and gloom and powerless, then you probably are consuming content that's not necessarily supportive. There's a difference between being informed and being aware, and a difference between being sucked in and brainwashed by the machine. Be very, very, very careful make sure you can see the matrix. Well, on the heels of the last point that I just made, I feel like now we can really get into what we focus our attention on. It's been said 1,000 times before, what we put our attention on grows. And this doesn't mean that you're supposed to do any of this toxic positivity sort of like crap where you only look at the things that are positive, hoping that only positive things will happen. No, that's not what this means. I'm a very educated, informed, intelligent woman. I very much ground myself in reality, and I expect you to as well. I expect you to be a thinker. I expect you to be somebody who seeks out knowledge, asks questions, and stays on top of things. With that being said, I expect you to use that information, knowledge, and power to move yourself forward, to support your loved ones in moving forward, not to depress you, not to disempower you, not to leave you immobile, essentially, but to really be like, how do I contribute? How do I make a difference? How do I step up? What is my part? And how am I going to take ownership of my life? Right? So what are you focusing on is what are you intentionally, consciously creating? You don't want to be in your subconscious mind. You don't want to be in your default. You don't want to be in fear, and you don't want to be sucked in by whatever dominant narratives there are happening right now. You have got to be someone that you're focused on your morning routine. You're focused on what you want to create. You're focused on the future you want to build. Where you see other people are focused on obstacles, you are clear that you are focused on finding solutions. So this is a critical and important part of what you focus your energy and your attention on. Don't be someone that wastes your time on conversations that don't do anything except lower everyone's mental state, lower everyone's focus, energy, and vibration. You have to be more powerful than that. You have to be more self-aware than that. You have to be, I was going to say stronger. And then I was like hesitating because I was like, I don't know if I want to tell people to be stronger. But in these times, I'm going to tell you, you have to be stronger. Okay? I'm just going to say it. You have to be. You have to be for yourself, and you have to be for the people in your life that you love. You have to be. So these are the 3 things that I wanted to come out here and talk about. I think this is definitely longer than 10 minutes, but it's been a while since I did a video, and I just really, really wanted to get this out here. You haven't been seeing as much videos from me because we're so busy, and I'm so grateful just for everyone, for all of you. I love doing this work. I feel so grateful that I get to do it, and I love being of service and supporting and helping people. And as crazy as the world is right now with so many things that are happening, if all I can do is do my best to do my part, I want to be doing that. I want to. So this is me trying to do a piece of my part. I thank you all for your time and your energy, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until we see each other next time, remember, we are in this together.